Good morning, Alex. Good to see you.
Let's get right to this. The pardoning of former Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Most constitutional experts are against it. Many say it was a purely political move. Northwestern law professor Martin Reddish says if the president can immunize his agents in this manner, the courts will lose any meaningful authority to protect constitutional rights against invasion by the executive branch. Is there anything Congress can do about how the pardon power is used?
Well, we're obviously, his action in the dead of night while we're experiencing a potential national tragedy as the hurricane hits is just so inexcusable. And the symbol of what he did when he did it coming on top of Charlottesville, just inexcusable. When we return, we're just going to have to take a total look at it. What he did on Friday night is an attack on the Constitution. It's an attack on the rule of law. And I don't even know if there's any legitimacy to it. And it's not just besides the fact that a federal court had already found this man in violation of civil rights, but the fact that the symbol, he didn't prosecute more than 400 sex crimes, molestation of children, rape of women. It's just so wrong in every aspect. There is a separation. We have 3 branches of government. Each of us has a system of checks and balances. He's crossing it, and when we get back, I'm not normally the person that's out there saying, we've got to do something now. We've got to do something now. What he did was wrong.
He is not the first, as you're well aware, though, President, to issue a pardon that's controversial. You had, of course, Gerald R. Ford, President Nixon. He pardoned him. And then we also had Bill Clinton in the waning days of his presidency, pardoning Mark Rich, his big financier donor to his campaigns and supporting him. So where does this lie in comparison to those?
You know, each of those has their own unique set of circumstances. You know, history is probably kinder to Gerald Ford on the pardoning of Nixon because we did need to heal as a nation. I could, make my own comments on Bill Clinton with his financial donors. Joe Biden said we're fighting for the soul of this country. He is right. This is about the soul. It is about the man that he pardoned and what he stands for and what he has done and who he is targeting and his record, bragging that his prisons are like concentration camps. This is not a good man.
And you say when you get back and Congress gets back, you have to do something about it. I'm curious if you think it will have a bipartisan support to do something about it. John McCain has condemned it. Paul Ryan has condemned it through a spokesperson. How do you see this playing out in Congress?
You know, I think it's going to be very interesting when we return in September to see how all members respond after having a very rough 5 weeks at home. I'm sure that every member's having different experiences like I do. I do think that bipartisanly people are disturbed about what is happening in the division that we're seeing of fear and hatred. Do you know, just in my own district of Ann Arbor, which is not a conservative city, in the last week there have been swastikas put on a skating ring. The Out Bar was vandalized on Friday night. One of our college campuses had graffiti with the N-word in just the last week. This kind of hatred isn't okay, and we've got to come together. We cannot let fear and hatred divide this country. So I hope all of our colleagues are going to come together and stand up for what we really do stand for in the United States of America. United we stand, divided we fall.
Adam Schiff, the ranking Democrat on the House Intel Committee, has tweeted, Arpaio action was appalling and political. It also sends message to witnesses in Russia investigation to keep quiet, stay loyal, and get pardoned. Is that a stretch?
Well, Adam Schiff's one of the most steady, smart people that I know. I think he's basing that, if he's making that statement, he doesn't take these wild statements. So I am concerned about what it means. And what he did with Sheriff Arpaio, after the Justice Department had even told him not to do it, let the system work, he didn't follow any of the normal processes. I think it may not be the stretch that people want to say that it is out there. You know, he is clearly worried about this Russia investigation. We've got to let, the rule of law is under attack right now. The very fundamental pillars of the Constitution are under attack right now. And we got to start standing up.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.